Welcome to the Parts Girl Podcast, powered by PartsEdge. We are excited to present our Fixed Operations Summer Camp Series. Your host, Kaylee Felio, will be joined by industry experts to discuss parts inventory control, special orders, lost sales, manufacturer programs, customer retention, and technicians. You're going to get it all in this special series.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Parts Girl podcast. I'm super excited to be interviewing Bob Gower. Welcome, Bob.
Well, thank you, Kaylee.
Yeah, so let's start with just your background, just who you are, who you're with, what your role is, and then we'll dive right into what we're going to talk about.
Okay, great. I'm Chief Operating Officer at Traver Connect. So, a little bit about my background. I actually met John Traver, who owns Traver Connect, back in 1991 when I was running a Toyota store as a general manager. And he actually set up my sales BDC. And about 3 to 4 years later in 1995, I really felt that the lack of setting appointments and having a prescriptive model to drive showroom traffic, quality showroom traffic, was a real need in the industry. So I left that job to go to work for him to actually build BDCs in stores all over the country. So, I started at most people in the car business, writing service, working in sales, became the sales manager, became the GSM, the GM of the store. But, I found there was a lid working in a store. I have a thirst for knowledge and I'm really inquisitive. So I thought that if I could get out of that box and get into a bigger box, I could learn more. So John gave me the opportunity to work with thousands of stores and just about every OEM that's out there today, the AutoNations, the Lithias. I just had a great time working with Group 1 stores before they were Group 1, Maruni before they were AutoNation. So, that's kind of my background and my history.
That is so cool. So 95 is really when it all began with Traver and you, right? Is that
Yep.
what
So
I got
my
there?
lid got expanded and, we took a really simple, the word acronym actually BDC and BDM is a registered trademark of John's.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, he's an architect. He is very innovative, and I'm the developer. I like taking his designs and taking them further. So, we always have a joke that he started BDC and I took it globally with General Motors in 2013. So it's become a global standard at GM today. In 12
That
different countries, we've been able to do workshops for. So it just goes to show you that BDC appointments, which is really appointments, culturally fit every country. It may be a different language, but it still works in the service department as well in the sales department. So in
Absolutely.
2011, he split off and did something just for service called Service BDC, which is called Traver Connect, right?
Okay.
And specifically, it was to help stores handle, service appointments because the amount of calls in the service department are so overwhelming compared to sales. So it was just a natural transition. We had been doing sales forever and there was a need in service, but it was a different product. It needed to be different. So,
Absolutely.
so what we did was we were able to help stores either train them or to back them up when they can't take calls or make calls outbound, or just to help take all the calls from them if they needed it. So it gave us the flexibility. And in today's market, what that allows us to do is stores get layered and layered with more complexity every day. I just came from a parts and service meeting from an OEM, a major OEM. And if you look at what the dealers are required to do today between retention, between CSI, handling calls under 10% abandonment rate in service, year over year growth with RO count, and just the trickiness of mobile service and pickup and delivery. I mean, it's
That
overwhelming before you even get to talk to a customer today.
that
So,
is 100%. My big question for you is what how or what's your approach to really just maximizing the dealership's opportunities for retention? Because that's one thing we talked about, and I think that's a big stress on dealerships right now. is retention. And this is specifically in fixed operations.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, historically, it's been pretty much the same. The first 2 years, retention levels are around 80, mid 80s, right? 85%. When you get to the 13th month and beyond, after that 10-year run, it continues to drop every 12 months till you get down to a low of 30 to 40%. So if you look at the number one thing that influences our industry today, fixed operations is the new variable. I mean, that's where the profit is today. But how can you do that with loss rates that high of customers that aren't going to come back, right? So it begs to answer the question, what do we need to do differently than we've done in the past? And how do we get those win backs back from a third party industry that is either more convenient in most cases, maybe perception of pricing is better, which I think is really not true. But we need to do a really good job of what I believe the word service, right? We need to provide a different level of service because it's just not one and done because we can't survive on that. So just imagine in a service department today, if I had an 80% retention rate after 10 years, what the profitability in that store would look like. How does that impact the sales department? I mean, it has the biggest single effect, I believe, in the industry today.
It does. And I actually have a recent kind of scenario that I want to walk through and get your perspective on that happened because me as a consumer, we have vehicles that need serviced. And and I want to get your perspective. So I'm a 30 something, so I don't want to talk to people on the phone.
Yeah.
I go for self-checkout a lot.
Well, you're doing a good job today, just so you know.
Oh, thank you. But my question is, okay, so I've had my vehicle serviced at this dealership and I get a text saying it's time to get another service, which is true. It's been on my mind. I'm like, yes, I do need another service. But at my previous appointment, there was recommendations made for maintenance that I wasn't quite ready for. So I texted back saying, yes, I do want to schedule. But I remember last time you guys made recommendations. Can you send me those so I can look at them and we can schedule? And then I got you need to call us, or it was just like an automated thing. So I want to get your perspective on like that flow of like, am I being unrealistic as a consumer to be able to get that information through text so then I can make that decision of, yes, I am ready to make that maintenance and that schedule. Because I don't think I'm the only one that denies service that needs it. So
Correct. So usually it's a surprise, right? So, there's a couple ways. So first of all, what you're talking about is high touch. Customers today are looking for high touch and high tech. Stores today seem to think that high tech may solve their problem, but the reality is you really need both. Why do I say that? So even if you were shopping today at Walmart for groceries, I mean, it's a totally different experience than just getting your car serviced, right? So the first thing they need to do is to be able to send you via text the actual MPI they did the last time you were in with the declined work on it so you could review it. So that
yeah.
shows me they have lack of tech, right? It's really easy to get that tech. A lot of stores are using it today. But even if they had the tech, the next problem they have is high touch. They didn't have anybody to interact with you to make that happen. There's a reason behind that. The reason is typically they're understaffed. We see that in every store today, especially in service. So they're understaffed, they're overwhelmed. So in a lot of cases, even if you were to call them, which I know you hate to do, they're missing about 25% of those calls every day because they come at peak times. They come, during the day. They don't come after hours. They're just missing them during the day when they're busiest. And so they really don't have a mechanism to support the customer at that level for high touch. In your case, it would be really simple for that advisor, if they're connected properly, just to send you that multi-point inspection via text so you could go ahead and schedule the car properly.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem because let me tell you why. If you were just to call in to get your car serviced even, and I didn't bring up the fact that last time you were in, you declined some work. Do you want us to go ahead and get that done? Or I found
Hmm.
a recall that was open. Do you want to go ahead and let us schedule that too? Or even the fact that maybe you need additional maintenance at this mileage level that's recommended. But what I
Hmm.
don't want to do is I want to recommend that so you get to make a choice before you even get there. Because once when you get there, your time's valuable. You've already set aside maybe an hour to go do this. And when I tell you it's going to be 3 or 4 hours, it's not the money necessarily that stops you. It's the fact you were surprised
The
and that
time.
you may not have the time, right?
Hmm.
So it all starts, we always say, where does it start? It starts with the very first interaction with the customer to set that appointment properly. And then in your case, if you want to text versus talk, we need to have a mechanism to do that. But we can't forget that the tool of texting is not sufficient enough. It has to be what's in the dialogue of that text. It needs to be
Exactly.
personalized to you, right?
Hmm.
So to me, those are just best practices. It starts with having enough people to get it done, and then
Yeah.
it moves into training them so the process is executed daily consistently. And then the last piece of it is enabling the technology they have to make this work and make it measurable, right?
Uh-huh. Because it's like they have the tech, but they didn't have a process or something to really fully execute. So not that I'm frustrated, but I'm like, well, I haven't called them and no one's called me. And I still obviously need to get that maintenance done on my vehicle, but it would have been nice to get a text so I can review because I think I'm not the only one, and I don't think it's just my generation, but I think we like to take time to think about things and plan them and review. And so when it's sent through a text, you have that time, or an email, you have that time to think about it.
Yeah, and
So,
if it was my store, because we train and we have a few thousand stores that we work in, my recommendation would be you have declined work. You obviously would probably prefer not to come in if you don't want to call us, right? And my preferred methodology would be to set up a pickup and delivery, get your car in, get it done, and get it back to you. But that takes a different level of just pickup and delivery. What I think it takes today in the industry, where we're all moving to, or at least we are as a company, is a
mhm.
concierge level person to handle that move, not just schedule it, but to handle the move. So you're
Yeah.
aware of what's going on in that move. You have a go to person, and your car has a go to person, and the dealership has a go to person. And to me, that takes all the wrinkles out of this where the customer, it'd be great to get you back in. We want to keep you, but it also gives us an opportunity for you to be disappointed again if we don't do this better than last time, right?
That makes sense.
So to me, retention is a journey. You know, and BDCs are designed to be able to give you the staffing, the processes, the people that have high touch with enabling technology to make that happen. You can't do that with a service advisor in a lane. They're just too busy. They're never going to get back to you. And
Hmm.
I think that's the key today. But you got to remember the store is designed to either sell or service your car. When you layer all these other aspects on, it's difficult. I talked to a store today that it does about 2,000 ROs a month. They have two people in the BDC. They normally have 4 to 5, but they're down to two. And my question is, how in the world are you even answering the phone? you
Hmm.
know so you should be looking for a minimum somebody to back you up. If you can't get to the phone in 3 or 4 rings, it should go to a professional that can do that even if it's off site. That's better than letting that customer be frustrated. And if you only have two people, you're never going to get there. You might as well just outsource that piece of the business, let those two work on calling those customers back to do the things that you just talked about, because not only is it high touch, but they're in the store, which means that they have the accessibility to the lane that maybe a company won't have.
Hmm.
So I think it's a marriage of all those things. I think it's it's dysfunctional today. I think it needs to be a strategy. I think the strategy needs to be supported
Yep.
by pillars that actually you can execute against predictably every day.
Yes.
And that's what we do in stores. We're there to help them, and I think that the biggest place we can help them to start with is just taking their calls And I think the second place is this interaction you talked about via
Mhm.
omni-channel. Is it text? Is it email? Is it chat? Is it live calls? You have to be able to do all that today,
You
right?
have to have a structure and a strategy to support all those different avenues of uh, communication with the consumer. And but I want to ask you something. Sorry,
Sure.
did I interrupt a thought? Did you still have
No,
a thought? Okay.
I have lots of thoughts, but
I know, and I have lots of thoughts too as you're talking. I'm like, oh, that's why I keep looking down because I'm writing them down. What is the biggest pushback that you get from? Because I'm just thinking about a fixed ops director. They have so much on their plate, and I feel like a lot of them get paralyzed with wanting to implement things. So I feel like what would be like a pushback that you get, or what do you hear all the time, and then like how do you get around that? Like if you were talking to me as a fixed ops director, and I'm like, I know I need this, but I'm just so overwhelmed. Like, how do you make me feel better?
well, I think the first part is, let's say I want to come in and help you implement something, right? Your
Mhm.
first fear is, Bob, it's a fire drill here every day. When we open the door, it
Yeah.
starts. I really don't even know what's going to hit you because I've been
Mhm.
in those roles. And I'm like, it's like, okay, here we go. The new day starts all over again. And we never know what we're going to have surprises. We just don't know what they are yet, right? I
Mhm.
think you need to take a really good look at that and go like, what battles do I want to fight? Which ones do I want to hand off to someone else that can do this better? And that will take the pressure off of myself as a service director so I can really do my job, which is
Mhm.
work with my team out front on the line, my technicians in the back, get the productivity we need, get the CSI scores that we have to have, right? But you can't do
Exactly.
that if you're worried about all this other stuff, like who's calling back all the customers just to do CSI calls. There's a lot of money on that today, depending on what OEM you are. So your pressure, it has to shift now because your key focus was taking care of the customer. But now you have several other initiatives behind that are going to trump that at some point during the day. That's the problem. If you want to eliminate those, because I think that anybody in a store today that interfaces with a customer, their number one role is to interface with the customer, to make that customer feel like you want me to come back. It's
Mhm.
not doing all these other projects that we have to do that takes us away from the customer. And I think that's where customers feel like, why don't they come back after their first free service visit? Why don't they even come back for their free service visit? Because they don't like that experience compared to Amazon, compared to Walmart, compared to your grocery store, compared to Starbucks, you name it. There's
Yeah.
plenty of places that you shop at every day. You compare, do I want to go get my car serviced today or not? And that's where I think that you see the OEMs today talking about pickup and delivery,
Mhm.
but actually executing against that and having a plan, not just picking up and delivering, but having a
Yeah.
plan behind it where Kaylee goes like, wow, I'm talking to all my friends and I'm telling them if they're not using this service department, they're crazy because these guys make it so convenient for me. It's so easy to do business with them. I
Mhm.
call them, they call me, we set up an appointment, we do everything by text or email, my preference. But at the end of the day, they pick the car up, they get it back to me. Everything's processed. I can pay over, on my text app. I can pay for the repairs. I can review the repairs on the text. I can literally approve them on the
Mhm.
text. And I can actually do my day and not be inconvenienced. Just like if I want to use my app today to go shop at Walmart for groceries and have it delivered. I
Yeah.
have a mother in law that's in a home and,
Mhm.
she needs stuff and, she's not 5 miles away. And you know how easy it is for me we use HEB here in Texas. And, all I have to do is get on the app. I can buy her flowers this afternoon and have them delivered this afternoon.
Mhm.
So put that same experience with I need to get my truck's oil changed today.
Oh, absolutely.
And how do I get that? How convenient is that compared to just getting food or cookies to my mother in law remotely
Mhm.
without ever having to do anything except touch the app? And everything else is taken care of. And I know it's going to be done well because they're consistent in their processes. Does that
So I
make sense?
feel like Yo, that makes complete sense. As a consumer, I'm just thinking like, where do I find the dealerships that are providing this service? Because Walmart, you download the app. You're not, I mean, do dealerships have apps? Like, how do we marry all of this together? I don't even know if that's what you guys focus on, but I'm just like, how
Yes,
do I
there's plenty
find
of
them?
technology out there today
Yeah.
that you could text in and set your next appointment. You could have a pickup and delivery. You can have them
Mhm.
text you back what they found with the car. They can send you videos so they can see exactly what's going on with the
Yeah.
brakes that you might need repaired. They can ask you to do an estimate over the phone, not over the phone, but even on the texting tool if that's what you prefer, or over the
Yeah.
phone, any way you want to do it. And then you can actually pay for that car and have it delivered back. So those are happening in stores today. But if I put myself on the dealer side, how many of those customers can I facilitate that every day? So how many drivers do I have? What's one big example? How many cars do I have that I can do that with? So there's restrictions, right? They have lack of what I'd call not want to do it, but they have lack of the ability to do it because they don't have the resources to do it. And if
The
I'm that
foundation.
store, right? And you know that's 80% of the stores that are out there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe 20%, I think it's 2 or 3% kill this because they got it. I think the rest are
Mhm.
going to struggle because they can't put all these pieces together every day because
Mhm.
it's hard. They're paralyzed with other things. Those are the folks that need to go get help. And I think
And you
that
guys put the pieces together.
we do. We put them all
Yeah.
together. You know,
Okay.
we don't sell a tech. I think we're like a golf pro, just so you know. We don't sell pings and tailor-mades. We work with whatever club they have. So
Okay.
today, for example, we work with 14 schedulers today that are out there just to schedule your appointment. So it doesn't
Mhm.
matter to me what scheduler. What really matters is getting the appointment scheduled properly, right?
And what's going to work for that dealership?
Yeah, and what's going to work in their price range, their environment, their culture, what are they already using in the lane? So there's
Mhm.
really, will we make suggestions? Yes, I always make suggestions. If the need is that they want to do something that's more advanced than what they currently have, it can be done. They might just have to switch tools. But just
Mhm.
remember that the strategy, the process, to me, is independent of a tool, right?
Yes.
It's like your golf swing. You're either a two handicap or you're not. You can do that with TaylorMades or you can do it with pings. You just need to have, to me, the swing is the process, connecting the dots, right?
Mhm.
And I think that the expertise behind that and driving it every day is where most dealers fail. They fail with execution. Yeah, we
Mhm.
used to do that. We did it yesterday and then we got interrupted and we stopped doing
Mhm.
it. And I know stores today that were doing pickup and delivery during COVID that have stopped.
Mm.
It's not because they don't want to do it. It's just that the service managers, like you said, are paralyzed with other things and it's
Mhm.
not top of mind because COVID's not here now, right? But
Mhm.
the reality is the people that own those stores and the customers that use those stores still want those services.
They do. They do.
So how do
And
you connect that? You know, it's painful. I'm going to tell you, it's
yeah,
painful to try to connect it. Some of it you should just find the right person to do it for you.
exactly. Well, and I feel like a lot of the dealerships kind of already have that technology because they're like, oh, we need technology, we need the solution. But then they're not working on the process. So it's almost like the process meets technology so that it creates the execution and can run like an engine. It just runs, like,
That's right.
and then the fixed ops person oversees that engine or whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it golf, I don't know. I'm not that
Well,
good
I
with
think
golf
the real
terms.
title of a service director has changed over the years. I think they're
Yeah.
really in another industry. If they were a person in a different industry, we would call
Hmm.
them the chief revenue officer for service.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
But are they concentrated on their revenue and revenue growth, or are they concentrated on just getting the work through the shop? That's the question. So when
Yeah.
you look, once a COO, chief operating officer, gets the work through the shop, but there's nobody in the dealership that really acts in the fixed ops department that I see as a chief revenue officer who's going, guys, we need to do some things differently. We need to focus on customers that haven't been back with certain mileages that we have techs open to do the work. I mean, to
Hmm.
me, there's a strategy play here that if you do this right, I mean, not only is it extremely profitable, your
Yeah.
CSI goes up and your retention goes up, you know?
Everything just
And what's cool about retention is, to me, retention, when people say retention, if I get you back one time because you haven't been back in 2 years, I don't call that retention. I call that an outbound campaign. Now,
yeah.
if I can do things that wow you and set the next appointment and you are subscribed to that, now I
Hmm.
have retention. So I think
Yeah.
you're going to see if we can do mobile service and pick up and delivery. Other industries have been doing mobile service since the beginning of time, like Caterpillar, John Deere. I mean,
Oh yeah,
they don't bring that equipment in. It's all pre-maintenance on sitting where it's at by a mobile truck,
that
right?
makes
And I'm
sense. Yeah.
like, so there's other industries that logistically can do this. So why
It's
can't
not
we?
crazy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like it's brand new. Nobody's ever done this before, right?
No, it's just getting that process, that plan, and executing it consistently. Definitely. So I'm glad I'm not crazy. I was like, man, I feel like I don't think I'm technically a millennial, or maybe I am, but I felt like one when I was like, they just texted me to call. I don't want to call. So
And pretty
yeah.
soon, you know, depending on what car you own, the car's going to tell you need service, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
And what's going to happen is, I think the OEMs feel like you'll come right in and you'll set an appointment with the dealer, maybe on your screen. But the reality is, once when you know you need to have your oil changed, you get to make a choice. If we're
Hmm.
not timely in reaching out and making this easy for you and setting up some kind of concierge service to get your car back, you're going to drive down to the first 5 minute lube place next to you on the way to the dealership that might be 30 minutes away. And you're going to say it's more convenient just to pull in here. So we got to
Hmm.
take that away from the independents. We really have to go wherever you're at, however you want to do this, we can come help you.
Absolutely. I'm excited for the future. And I think, I mean, that's really all the questions I had for you. Is there anything that you want to add to conclude or wrap up for the excitement for what's ahead?
Yeah, and I think the key here is that everything we talked about today is not the future, it's here now, just so
It's
you
here
know.
now. Yep,
We're
it
doing
is.
it today. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I think the stores that were doing it because of COVID, we've had stores that did it 5 years before COVID because they
Mm.
knew it was the right thing to do. When
Yep.
COVID came along, it wasn't that they had to make a change. So, you know, I look at those stores and go like, you guys got it.
Yeah.
The rest of us have to get it because if we don't get it, I don't know how we exist on 40%, 50% retention after 10 years. Um, Electric cars are going to come out. It's going to change the servicing and the way people do it. It's going to
Hmm.
change the profitability back in the back end of the business. So we got to do this today. We have to be on top of this. That's
We
all.
do.
That's all I have for you.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, this was great. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I hope dealerships listen to this and like, yes, I know what I need to do, and you guys can help them, because it sounds like you're the process that meets tech. Maybe is that the right? How do you? I'm sure you
Yeah,
guys
I
have a
think we
way.
can at least do this, point them in the right direction. I always like to say, even if we can't do business, I can at least point you in the right direction.
Yeah, get you started, because that's
Yeah,
the whole thing. Is there's so many things that we can do, and it sounds like you guys can just help them get started. So.
that's right.
Well, thank you, Bob, for coming on. And we'll have all the links for everyone to reach out to if they want to connect. But I always like to close with, what's the best way to reach you? I'm assuming probably LinkedIn is a good way to find you.
LinkedIn, you can hit my LinkedIn file or you can call me on my cell phone.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be sure to include the cell phone in the links. Um, and thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thank you. It was great to meet you face to face.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. PartsEdge, the power tool for your parts department. We hope you're leaving feeling motivated, challenged, and inspired.